So this is the scene that I did tonight, starting right now. Okay.
Captain, you need to get up here.
This can't be good.
Okay. So several things happened in this scene. Let me show you. We'll go frame by frame. So for the first 9 frames, nothing happens, and then here comes the incoming shot. Somebody's firing something at the ship. So you see it incoming for 5 frames, and then bam, it just hit, and now it fades because, it's like on Star Trek, somebody hits the ship. Now, at 25, watch the paper. See, this is Sweetie Bear. She's short, and she's taking over the captain's office. She's sitting on a stack of papers because she's short, right? She's tiny. She's like a teddy bear. So up until now, she's sitting on the stack of papers, and of course, she's talking to Dolly Bear, her identical twin sister. Anyway, at frame 25, watch the papers. Okay, the papers disappeared, but I replaced them with a smaller little stack of papers, and I'll show you why. Well, you saw the scene, you know what happens. So for just a few frames, for 5 frames, they go up. And then for 5 frames, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There they are. Both of them went flying up in the air. And then for 5 frames, they came down. Bam. So poor Sweetie Bear got knocked on the ground. And I look at the papers. So the papers just kind of go floating down to the ground for another like 20 frames, 20 or 30 frames. La 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 la. So, see, and they kind of even just float to the ground. Okay. Then, as soon as the papers hit the ground, that was the cue for Sweetie Bear to stand up. Hands on her hips. She's all business now. And, she hears the announcement, Captain, you better get up here to the bridge. That can't be good. Okay. So, anyway, that was the scene. What I wanted to show you was this. This is a prop that I bought when with part of the software. I don't remember where. It was part of a set or something. I don't remember. Anyway, it's just a picture of paper. Now, I found I stopped shopping online for the different props, with the store and everything, because for me, it's easier to draw them myself. So I want a stack of papers to kind of look like this, right? So this is what I did. I drew this. It's just one piece of paper, right? It's just a square, a black square, and then I put a white square in the middle, and then I drew the lines, and it's just a blank piece of paper. Then I loaded the paper here, right here. So I loaded the paper in here. Then I used this tool, the Sprite Editor. Takes a second. The Deform tool, and I just kind of redrew the paper, put it at a different angle. Then I saved this as its own prop. Then I go into the editor, the prop editor, like that. And I take that same piece of paper and I add it 4 times. And this is what I wound up with. Okay, so it's 4 pieces of paper. You can see there when I make it bigger. It's 4 sheets of paper, and I stacked them on top of each other. Because I needed them small, like on the screen, right? So they go up for the first 10 frames. They went up flying. And look how they went from being laid flat on the ground, the perspective changed, because as they went up, you see, I stretched those things back out. So for the first few frames, see how they expand. And now for those frames, then bam, okay, so they went flying up. And then they come floating back down to the ground from 8 to 60. So I did 8 and then I did 60. So I knew where I wanted them to wind up at. And then twice during the fall, I twisted them all up at different angles. So they don't just go up and then come straight back down. They kind of float there, and then they float more, for another few frames, and then they all kind of land in pretty much the same place. That kind of looks realistic, at least for a cartoon. It's what you might expect from a cartoon. And to be honest, I don't know all the time. I can't do it all in my head. So I knew that the initial fly up would be the shortest part, and then the float down would be longer. But I did figure it at like 20. I think I went 20 and then 70 or something like that. But what I wound up doing was I just highlighted those 3 and then went from wherever it was, 20 or 30, and scrubbed it back. So because I had timed it, so they went flying up a little too slowly. But so this is what it looks like, which what you saw before, but this is what it looks like. So 10 frames, bam, they go flying up. And it looks like when I play it, you can't really see that part, but they go like an explosion. So that's that. And now watch the original scene again. I'll show you. Okay.
Captain, you need to get up here.
This can't be good.
Anyway, that is the scene that I did tonight.